Welcome, wonderful people, to the Sunday Rune and Card reading. I'm Jenny Florence. Guys, welcome back to any of you who are already following my readings, and thank you so much to those of you who were able to connect in with us live yesterday for the webinar about learning to read the tarot cards, the oracle cards, the runes. That is the first of many. If you missed it and weren't able to join us live, the recording is there. You can check in on it anytime you wish. It is one of many, and one of my tasks today is to actually pre-program a whole series based on your comments and based on your questions and that came through in the chat. A lot of you were asking for more information in specific areas. I mean, we were never ever going to squeeze everything into one webinar, so watch this space. Anyone who is new to the channel, we are doing a whole series of webinars. I put a lot of free stuff into the world. I give a free private reading to one of my subscribers every month. I draw the name out of a hat. I'm also giving away packs of the Art of Manifestation Oracle cards, and because those are actually genuinely now about at long last to be birthed into the world, that there's a whole story with that. If you're new to me and my channel, I'm going to put a video on right at the end of these readings just to update you, because the list for pre-ordering those will be closed at the end of this next week. I should just put a date on today. Today is the 22nd of March 2020, in case you check in on this in a month's time and think, what's going on? So, wonderful people, there's a lot happening in the world at the moment, and I was really called to do a set of readings that are about holding light and managing anxiety levels, actually, because anxiety levels, if we are anxious, that actually in itself will lower our immune system. It's really important that we are very big on self-care, not just in a physical sense at the moment, but in an emotional sense. One of the things that I will be doing, guys, this week is I am actually going to read the chapter. I may even do it live, actually. I'm going to read the chapter from Mindfulness Meets Emotional Awareness about anxiety and read the exercises. If I do it live, it will be more fun, and I will kind of, not say ad lib, but I will share a lot of extra stories amongst it and try and connect that chapter and what I'm talking about in that chapter to our current situation. So that will be happening as and when I can actually make the time to do it. So guys, if you want that, I don't know when, and I therefore can't pre-plan for it, but if you want notification of that, I'll try and give a couple of hours notice. That's probably the best I can do, because I've got a really packed week. But keep an eye out for it. If you are subscribed, make sure you press the little bell icon as well, because that way you will get notification as soon as I post it. But I will do that. It's a good chapter. In this book, I've taken all of our most challenging emotions, and really they are teaching how to understand the emotions, how to use them so they work for us. You know, emotions can be, you know, our very best friend, or they can be our worst enemy, depending on whether or not we understand how to engage with them, how to manage the energy that they bring us. So watch this space. So without further ado, now I have the technology, I should be able to shift to a different camera view. I'm loving this, guys. It was doing the webinar that caused me to invest in all this, but actually it makes it so much more fun to be able to talk to you in person. So let's shift this over and we'll move into the space of preparation. I'm going to talk to you about what I've done, because I know some of you are very interested in that. I spoke a lot about it in the webinar. There we go. You should now see. Okay, let me move my Mindfulness Meets Emotional Awareness book out of our way. So, wonderful people, in my preparations, the cleansing that I used to start with, I used white sage, which repels negativity. I also burned some sweetgrass, which actually draws in positivity, and I think that we really need that at this moment in time. So that's an energy that was used to cleanse all the cards and to cleanse this space before I began. I was also drawn to these 3 gifts from nature. We have cowslip. Now, cowslip for me, I know it has some healing properties, and some of you may well speak about that, but cowslip for me it's the first sign of spring. It connects into our ability to come out of darkness. It almost signifies the fact that we are going to emerge, that life is always evolving, and that even if we are experiencing difficulty, for me the energy of cowslip holds that space of possibility, that space of life, and of new opportunities and new beginnings. So that will be the energy that we have governing reading number 1. Reading number 2, we have wild garlic. It's looking slightly limp because I picked it yesterday. Wild garlic for me always places me into this incredible space of not only awe and wonder, because anyone who's walked through woodlands, natural woodland, and seen the wild garlic as it shoots, you can smell it. It's a cleanser. Wild garlic, in fact garlic itself, is often considered to repel negativity, has so many qualities, including, I believe, boosting our immune system. But for me, the space and the message that comes with it is to do with sitting in that space of gratitude. When the garlic starts to come through, not only is the new emerging, but it's nature offering us bounty. It's nature giving us nourishment, not only in a healing way. I mean, I cooked with this last night, saved these pieces for the reading. So there's something very magical, very healing, a space of gratitude for all that we are given, which I think really helps to shift us energetically into a space where whenever we feel gratitude, it's such a high resonance of energy that even if we are anxious, it pulls us up out of that. So very powerful energy here for reading number 2. Reading number 3, I have lungwort. Now, lungwort is something that grows in my garden. Now, when spring emerges, certainly here in the UK, we tend to get loads of yellow flowers first. It's all the yellows that come through. And I know that spring is really setting in and we are moving into a very different space of evolution when the lungwort comes through. We start to move, it's really interesting, the colours, the phases of the colours as we move through the year. The yellows always come first, and then we kind of go into blues with maybe some whites, but the blues and the purples. So lungwort for me represented this movement as we travelled through, but I knew it had medicinal properties, and I actually thought I'd just do a little bit of research. I'll put a link, this is an interesting website, I'll put a link in the information box below. It's a site called Global Healing, but this is written by Dr. Edward Group. This is what I've downloaded. I thought I would share it with you because given the virus that is around us and the cause of anxiety. Lungwort, also known as lungwort leaf or Pulmonaria officinalis, is a natural plant that has been used around the world for a variety of respiratory ailments, including coughs, colds, bronchial detoxification, and catarrhal concerns. It is found in native damp habitats and coastal areas, also in my garden. Because it is very sensitive to environmental toxins, the areas in which it is found are typically unpolluted old forests, and thus the presence of lungwort is a good indicator of an ecosystem's health. I am delighted to hear that for my garden. But there's a lot here, but it just struck me that its energy is one of healing and of the respiratory systems. And I won't read all of this because it will take a long time, but yeah, very interesting history, how it's used, what it's used for. For me, that was fascinating that I was drawn to this when I looked this up. It seemed to me to be really connecting into the kind of energy of healing that we are needing around us. So all of these 3 beautiful gifts, I think, do connect us to healing, to health, to the possibility of the new, of moving forwards, of nourishment, of gratitude, but in very different ways. So I will now draw from the cards. I'm going to place these above us for a moment, and we will draw from the cards and the runes for each of the readings. Now with these, I'm just going to cut. You may find that you are connecting in already to whether or not you are connecting with reading 1, reading 2, or reading 3. we have two, but it's that one. I know in the webinar I was really speaking about how much reading cards is about tuning into your sort of trusting your gut feeling, trusting your intuition. Let's move those out of the way. We are still in camera, aren't we? I hope so. 2. Wonderful Archangel Michael cards, and these were my very first pack of oracle cards. Very, very powerful, very clear messages as well. Going to turn that the right way up. There is no there's no sort of reverse meaning with those oracle cards at all. There'll be 3 of these for each of the readings. That's what I'm tuning into. And these were my very first pack of tarot cards. Hence them looking a little bit battered. Okay guys, so those are our cards, and I will now draw runes, and then it will be a time and space when I will do a tiny bit of editing and create a cut in the video. It's one of the things I think, interestingly enough, now I am set up to sort of potentially do live stuff. I think I will be doing the readings, the actual monthly readings live. So guys, if you want to tune in with those, again, I will try and give, because I tend to do them when the timing feels right, but I will try and give as much notification as I can. And what I'm hoping to do is to be able to, when I'm in the reading, Dermot, who moderated for the webinar, will be moderating while we do, if I do the live readings, and actually at the end what I'd like to be able to do is just hold open a space, you know, just for 10-15 minutes after the reading for sort of any Q&As, so that if there's anything that was raised during that time that you want to ask, I'm just available for that. And so obviously when I'm in the reading, I'm in it, and I can't really be tuning into questions at that moment in time, but I'd like to make space afterwards. So guys, watch this space again. If you are subscribed, make sure that you've pressed the little bell icon as well, and I will give as much notice as I can for each sign. And of course they'll always be recorded, so you can tune in afterwards as well. Okay, so we have 3 runes for each reading. Yes, this is one that can't really be done live, just because of the editing to make the kind of user experience, as it were, kind of flow. It would be very difficult for you to see all the cards moved away and sorted out. It would take so long. It would be like, you know, an hour and a half's reading, really, rather than, well, probably not quite that long, but you know, it would take a lot longer than the actual just doing the actual readings. It's only recently I've started showing the preparation time, really. You guys didn't used to see that at all, but I know you found it helpful. So, and thank you so much for the feedback, guys. You've been just amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, guys, these are our cards, and I will lay them out and take a photograph of them, and then we will come back and you will be able to tune in to whichever one you are connecting in with, or indeed it may be more than one. And yeah, so I will see you guys in a minute. So welcome, wonderful people. This is the time and space when the cards are laid out, along with the additional gifts that are being sent to guide us. We have this wonderful cowslip energy offering us a vision of transformation into the new, of hope, of light, of a future. We have the energy of wild garlic with reading number 2, nurturing energy, healing energy, offering us what we need when we need it, is what I'm hearing. And then we have this lungwort, healing properties, cleansing, allowing us to breathe, giving us space to breathe. That's what I'm hearing. At the moment, we're probably all feeling a little claustrophobic, I suspect. Well, that's certainly, you know, the isolation aspect of not being able to connect socially may well be, infringing on people's capacity to feel well and to feel as though they have space around them. So guys, you may wish to pause the video and tune in to whichever reading is speaking to you. Indeed, you may find that it is more than one. I know I've often said it, but I sometimes return to the readings. These are all in a playlist, so you can always go back to the home page, check in on the playlists, and find one of the pick a card readings that may be speaking to you at any time in the future, if you just need to touch base and seek some guidance. Namaste, wonderful people, and I will see you in whichever reading is speaking to you. Welcome to reading number 1. Let's put our beautiful cowslip up here. It's a stunning energy. It really radiates light. It's absolutely beautiful. Let's have a look at our runes. So our first rune is the rune of separation. This is interesting because sometimes this speaks of we're letting go of something, but we're letting go. There is a gain to be had, but there is a gain within. The gain to be had is through the letting go of something. Sometimes this actually associates with real property. I suspect, given the current circumstances, that most of us are not in the process of moving. I suspect things like house moving will grind to a halt. But sometimes it speaks of either a behaviour pattern or a thinking pattern, something that we had an emotional tie to. We then have the rune of protection, control of the emotions. I mean, again, this is interesting because control of the emotions, those of you that follow my readings, you'll know I'm very big on being in relationship with our emotions, not necessarily just being in control of them. Now that for me is fascinating because going back to the fact that there is a level of anxiety around us. It may be that you are being asked to let go of a reactive aspect. You're certainly being asked to nurture yourselves. This is a rune of this is a rune of fertility. Fertilize the ground for your own deliverance. So you are being asked to nourish yourselves. The rune of fertility is interesting because it does speak of new beginnings, new opportunities. It's curious, if we think about the learning to be found in every situation. Something I had a really interesting conversation last night with a very dear friend, and she and I were both talking about the learning to be found in this current situation. What is being brought to our attention? What are we needing to see? Okay, so we have here Ace of Water and King of Water. Archangel Michael, new beginnings and a fresh start. It's interesting because there is an aspect of new beginnings here for you guys. We have Groundhog Spirit, time to let go. Okay, so there's some fairly clear messages that something is needing to be let go of here. And I'm wondering if I can move the camera down. I'll probably leave it as it is, but we are quite high up. I'm wondering if you would get a better view if I moved it down. But Groundhog Spirit, time to let go. Archangel Michael, new beginnings and a fresh start. Thank you for bringing new opportunities and offering support, and for helping me release and heal my past. Fill me with trust as I experience these life changes. This is really interesting because we have the Ace of Water. This is a very emotional reading. Ace of Water, new beginnings, new opportunities, new love. King of Water, there's something very safe for me about the King of Water. He's intuitive. He has a lovely energy of intuition about him. He also has an inner vision. Internal dialogue and take a leap. Wow, guys, this is an amazing lineup. Internal dialogue. We all have an internal dialogue. This is what you're needing to let go of. We all have an internal dialogue within our mind, a constant stream of inner conversation. Is your dialogue kind, supportive and affirming, or is it critical and judgmental of both yourself and others? This card asks you to listen to your inner words and, if necessary, take steps to consciously change your language. Take a leap. This card is an invitation to take a leap of faith. Sometimes, even when we desperately desire change, we procrastinate and find all kinds of reasons as to why we should stay as we are. It is completely understandable to be anxious when stepping into the unknown. This card is calling you to trust and make that move. Whatever is going on in your world, it could be compounded by our current situation. I think our current situation is actually creating, interestingly enough, an opportunity for a huge amount of insight. Now, astrologically, we are in a very, very amazing space of potential energetic transformation, which makes me really, really wonder, what is it that we are going to learn from this situation? Again, Ace of Cups, this is the equivalent of the Ace of Water. You're doubling up on new beginnings. The Magician, this is a card of personal manifestation. The World is suggesting a completion of something. Something is coming to a completion and you are needing to let it go. Now, for some of you guys, this is going to be an attitude. It's something that's been holding you back. I think this is an extraordinary, let's view adversity as an extraordinary opportunity. Let's consider that at times of adversity, we often find that we can sow new seeds, fertilizing the ground for our own deliverance. This is kind of like new beginnings, new opportunities. But something has to be let go of. I actually do think there is something within you that has held you back. It's some attitude, some belief, some perspective, or something. Also, what I'm also hearing for some of you, something has happened. This is the energy of Cowslip coming in here. As it shifts to a space of new possibilities, something's happened that you have this is definitely going to apply, obviously not to all of you, but to some of you. Something's happened and you have almost like ended up persecuting yourself about it. It's like you didn't believe you were good enough, or you created it, or you caused it, or you felt that you caused it. In fact, so what I'm also hearing, very, very clear message, it connects to the way that we perceive things when we're children. So to those of you that this is connecting in with, you are very, very sensitive. There's a lovely sensitivity being honoured here in the cow slip. It's utterly beautiful, but you know, it's really interesting because it is so, so sensitive. These petals are extraordinarily sensitive. Each one actually almost creates a heart shape if you would take it into the centre of the flower. They create a little heart shape. It's a series of hearts in a circle. You're very, very sensitive, and as a consequence, I think you've experienced things and almost automatically assumed those experiences or the things that were going wrong were your fault. I've spoken about this at different times. It's like if you and I, let's say, you and I had a blazing row, and an adult walked into the room, they would think, wow, what's going on between Jenny and you? You know, we could cut the atmosphere with a knife. They will know that they've walked into a really challenging atmosphere, and they will know that it belongs to us because they've walked into it. If a child, and particularly a sensitive child, walked into the room, they would immediately think, what have I done wrong? Because they would feel the atmosphere, but because they feel it, they take an ownership of it. And that's the kind of flavour that I'm getting here. Now, some adults are still that sensitive, and it's like you've carried that perspective that things are your fault, and you tend to, and this connects in with anxiety actually. I will, when I read the chapter about anxiety, you may want to tune in with that, because it gives us like a high alert system where we're almost always anticipating the worst. And you are being asked to let that go. There's some aspect of, it is this inner dialogue, this inner persecution, but it goes way back to childhood. I'm seeing a road, almost like a pathway going backwards. You know, readings are like a timeline. They tap into both our past, our present, and our future. Now, you're being asked to let this go because it's holding you back, it's limiting, it's actually creating a belief system or reinforcing a belief system that doesn't allow you to believe that you are entitled to new beginnings. Now, there's something about whatever situation you're in at the moment, you are being asked to take that risk, to take a leap. That doesn't always mean, taking a leap doesn't always mean externally. For some of you it will be. For some of you it will be overcoming your fears of other people. It will be overcoming your fears of other people treating you badly. For some of you it will be literally some aspect of inner persecution. But the wheel of fortune is turning, and even amongst the adversity that is going on globally, you guys are going to come out of this on top. You're going to be a winner. And I think whatever it is that you are, it could be a new relationship for some of you. It could be connected to the way in which you relate to others. It could be connected to the way in which you relate to yourself. But one way or the other, new opportunities, despite everything that's going on within this situation, you are discovering something of real positivity. Either, I think it's both actually. I think it's both in yourself and in others. I love that we have the King of Water and the King of Pentacles. It's like you begin to be able to be at ease with yourself, but it's yourself in relation to others. The wheel of fortune is turning, and this will create a change in your relationships. It will create a change in the way that you connect with others. And it will also, for those of you who are looking for a relationship, it will create an availability within you that opens you to that possibility and allows you to begin to believe in yourself and in others again. And this goes way, way back for some of you, really way, way back. Actually, a powerfully positive, really powerfully positive reading at a time when I think we are all significantly challenged. So wonderful people. Huge respect to you. It's this inner transformation that creates an energetic shift, and your energetic shift will radiate out into the world and set an example and bring hope and possibility to others as well. Wonderful people, so much love to you. Namaste. Welcome to reading number 2. Let's put our beautiful garlic over here, bringing us healing, optimism, I'm going to say, gratitude, nurture. Very lovely energy. Let's look at our runes. Okay, so we have the rune of opening, but it's in reverse. We have the rune of the self, and we have the rune of movement. The rune of opening is renewed clarity, out of darkness into light. Whenever we read the runes, there isn't just a strictly reverse meaning. With a rune, if it's in a reverse, we need to understand the rune itself and the meaning of the rune and its message, and then understand where that reverse position sits in relation to its primary sort of energy, if that makes sense. So there's some resistance to something. That's what I'm hearing. There's some resistance to something, but the key sits within you. The rune of movement is always the bettering of any situation. It's something moving forwards, gathering momentum. So, very interesting combination, but there's some reticence or some resistance to something going on. Let's have a look and see what other cards we have. We have the Hero and we have the Two of Water. Archangel Michael, let go of fear now. Very relevant to our current situation. Okay, lovely energy here. So where are we? Okay, Dragonfly Spirit. Truth transcends illusion. Let's talk about this card first. Truth transcends illusion. This card really asks us, I think, especially with this Let Go of Fear Now card, it's saying that there is a very clear message, and this is what's sort of, I say a reticence, this is what's holding you back. Your anxiety is actually bigger than it needs to be. That's what I'm really hearing. Now, understandably, I think we are living in very uncertain, fearful times. So much is going on that feels out of our control, and of course we can't necessarily with clarity feel that we can predict the future at the moment, and we don't know how long things are going to go on for. But this is interesting because your intention and take action now, this is what creates the movement. Intention is a focused thought. Prayer is a focused thought. Worry is also a focused thought. Notice the predominant thoughts that you hold in your mind, because these are actually sending a request into the universe. If necessary, consciously make adjustments to your thinking patterns. Take action now. This is a clear and unequivocal message that action on your part is needed. This is to do with the self and you aligning yourself with yourself. This is letting go of fear, not allowing things to escalate. Again, guys, do check in as soon as I read the chapter on anxiety from Mindfulness Meets Emotional Awareness. I'll also be reading the exercises to help lower. There's an exercise in every chapter of that book. I'll be reading that exercise to help lower anxiety as well. So manifestation is not simply a process of visioning in and dreaming about your desires. When an opportunity is offered to you, you must also take action. Pay attention to the signs and move forwards fearlessly. Your fear is holding you back. Now, clearly, at the moment, most of us will have some element of what I would call healthy anxiety. If we have no anxiety at all, when something is really wrong, actually there's something wrong with us. We should be feeling something. Otherwise, we're disconnected from our emotions completely. But we need to not allow something to escalate. And what I'm hearing is there's a decision that you need to make for some of you. Okay, and the decision, you're worrying about making that decision, you're worrying about the future, you're worrying, and that's understandable. Curiously enough, this reading seems to be suggesting that if you lower the worry, if you remove the worry and hold your intention, that actually things will move forwards, and this is the bettering of any situation. So it is suggesting that whatever the direction you're wanting to take, even if it's on hold for a while, it is going to move forwards. Now, it's just connecting with the other cards that we have here. 2 of water and also 12 of fire, the hero. This is very much, again, about be your own hero. There's some aspect of competition here as well. You are needing to weigh something up, and indeed you are weighing things up, but actually what's happening, we have temperance in reverse. 7 of Wands would suggest quite a lot of competition. So whatever it is that you're wanting or trying to do, there's an aspect of competition or competitiveness around. Now, for some of you, it may be that the current circumstances have raised anxieties that in a way are bringing out that aspect of competitiveness. You may be feeling there isn't enough to go round. Remember the garlic, the wild garlic, it's like a field in the forest at the moment, and it's prolific, it's everywhere, there's an abundance of it. We can't necessarily live on wild garlic alone, but there is an abundance coming through. It's just not in abundance in the way that we are used to. There is a message, and that actually there is enough to go around. We need to not be engaging in that, what I would call emotionally reactive, competitive state of mind. It taps into it for all of us. But it's interesting, you are being asked to be mindful. Truth transcends illusion. Allow yourselves to be connected to yourselves beneath the fear. Because if we are fear-driven, it colours and distorts our perspective, and it means we don't make decisions with clarity. It means we're not weighing things up with a clear perspective. The card of peace, 2 of Swords. In some packs, the 2 of Swords speaks of actually facing a conflict or a conflicting decision. In this card, I will rephrase that. In this pack, this card asks us to center ourselves, to unite all aspects of ourselves, to be grounded, to know that we will be given what we need when we need it. The prayer, Archangel Michael, please help me to feel safe and deserving of your guidance, and I want to add protection there. Thank you for clearing me of heavy, toxic or ego-based thoughts or feelings. This is very much about being able to be grounded and to not be looking through the lens of fear. Again, understanding how we can use our emotions to support us rather than to create reactive sort of energy that actually tends to spiral out of control, because that's unhelpful for us. It lowers our immune system, it creates stress, and overall it really, really kind of backfires if we get into that spiral. The Queen of Cups is a wonderful energy because this card says get centered. The Queen of Cups is marvelous because she is in tune with her emotions. She is empowered by her emotions. We have a wonderful collaboration here because we have the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Swords. For me, the Queen of Swords sometimes is seen as somebody who's a bit cold and a bit frosty, not in touch with their emotions, but actually the powerfully positive energy that she brings is to get very, very crystal clear, to make clear decisions. Having both of these cards is marvelous because it allows you to remain grounded in the face of the competitiveness that, I want to say, the situation that we're currently in is bringing out both the best and the worst in people. The worst in terms of perhaps, I could say greed, but I don't think it is greed. I think when people, somebody said to me yesterday, there was some situation in a town near me where somebody had literally stolen somebody else's loo roll. I mean, they'd snatched it out of a shopping bag and tried to do a runner, and you just think this is bonkers. There is enough if we all actually connect and support each other. This is fear-driven behaviour. And I think that's what we have to recognize. Again, we don't want to energetically fuel mistrust and hatred. What we do need to do is actually connect in emotionally with compassion, to recognize that if people behave really irrationally, it's because they've worked themselves up into a space of fear, and that's the lens through which they are operating. That, of course, tends to then spark fear in others. Emotions are transferable commodities. When one person behaves on the basis of fear, it sparks fear in others. Remember, emotions are transferable commodities. I could talk a lot about that. Indeed, I have been contemplating doing some sort of live conversations. At the moment I have lots of readings to do for April, and I'm planning, as I said at the beginning, I think, to try and do them live as well, so we can do some Q&A-ing as well. But yeah, I think there's a lot to be understood about emotional reactivity, and we can gain a huge amount in this position of adversity, a huge abundance of learning to be gained. So that's really the flavour here. It's something of the competitiveness that you may experience within yourself, but it may be that competitiveness gets sparked by other people. Just because they are fear-driven, it doesn't mean that you need to be. You can make crystal clear decisions based on emotional awareness. Get yourself centered. Be your own hero. Set an example. Be the bigger, better person. And if we are able to remove that level of fear, just recognize that what's going on is going on. And we can't change other people, but we ourselves can shift energy. It will actually shift this rune. I don't know, I'd love you to just connect in with that. Let me move it back to where it is. Sit for a moment with the energy and consider that when we get grounded and we live in a space of emotional responsiveness rather than emotional reactiveness, and we see beyond the illusion, our actions are then governed by really thought through decisions. So I'd like you just to connect in both to the card of temperance and the rune of opening. See what that feels like, and see if you feel a difference energetically. Because if we tune ourselves in and we shift that rune, actually the energy feels different. And actually, if we then turn temperance into an upright position, now I can literally feel a calmness and a flow kind of shift. It's like some resistance has been moved. It's very much what this is about, and the recognition that you yourselves, each of us, me included, all of us, we can each, through managing ourselves, become heroes not only for ourselves but also heroes for others. And I also want to say huge gratitude. In fact, I will share another story if I may. Somebody, again, in a conversation I had yesterday, told me about a situation where some of the supermarkets in the UK there are certain days when they are open. The first hour of their opening is opened to the elderly, the vulnerable, and to any healthcare and social workers, because the healthcare and social workers are working long shifts. They're coming out of work and they can't buy any food. The shelves are empty. And actually, I was astonished that apparently people chose not to respect that space, that 1 hour of shopping for these people, and they barged in to a supermarket and overrode that ruling, which shows such a lack of regard. Those healthcare workers could be the very same heroes that actually save your life tomorrow. We need to really be offering them huge respect, huge gratitude, huge appreciation, and give them the precedence they need to look after themselves in order for them to then be able to look after us. So I'm just going to conclude on that note. Wonderful people, look after yourselves. Let go of fear, because it doesn't help anybody. It's natural to have some anxiety, and as I said, do please tune in to when I read Mindfulness Meets Emotional Awareness. I will try and get that done as soon as I am able. I'll probably, as I said, try and do it live. Namaste, wonderful people. So much love to you all. Welcome to reading number 3 with the wonderful healing energy of Lungwort. Okay, and our runes. We have the rune of defense. We have the rune of wholeness, the path you must follow. And we have the rune of possessions, nourishment, from the worldly to the divine. This would suggest, this is interesting. There's a message that comes with this rune that asks you to remain humble at times of good fortune. So it may be that you actually are very well prepared. You may be, things may actually be going quite well for you when they may not be going well for others around you. I know that might sound strange, but this is a very powerfully positive energy and the path you must follow. Let's just connect in with the cards. Okay. You're needing to believe in yourselves. This is interesting. What is it that you don't believe in about yourselves, or there's an area of almost like that there's an aspect of slight despair or concern around you? You're being asked to recognize that you are, you're deserving, you're lovely, you're wonderful. There's some aspect of self-esteem in this reading that's coming through. Again, shield yourself. This is the rune of defense. Archangel Michael, I ask you to protect me, my loved ones, my vehicle and my home with your powerful shield. Surround us in your purple light, which allows only pure love to penetrate. Stay with me day and night and keep my loved ones safe. And you can name specific people or situations. You aren't. There are choices here. Okay. Empower yourself, ground yourself. And we have Ant Spirit, time to collaborate. Okay, this is almost an interesting paradox. Okay. Time to collaborate, really important. It is time to share whatever your good fortune, and I do feel like there is some aspect of good fortune around you. You are being asked to share what you have in some way, share of yourself. What you're also being asked to do, though, is to be discerning about it. I feel as though there is almost, let's say, envy around you. It may be that you're developing an aversion to the resonance of people that don't align with you. I mean, the path you must follow, the rune of wholeness, this is about your own centeredness, your own space of spiritual evolution. That there's something of envy around you. It's almost as though energetically people are envious of your achievements. You're needing to be both giving, make decisions, and yet at the same time you are being asked to be very discerning in your giving. There's some aspect of relationship around you. There's either someone or a group of people with whom it's almost like, you see, this rune asks you also to conserve what you have. Now that's very relevant in this moment in time. In one way you're being asked to collaborate, but you're being asked to look after yourself at the same time. I don't generally merge the two, any of the two readings, but in reading number 2, I finished by sharing a story, and it was to do with looking after healthcare workers, because they actually are putting themselves on the line to look after us at the moment. And there's something about the energy of, this may be you. You may be somebody who is out there, you're giving, and you may find that you are giving to the point where you're not actually looking after yourself enough. Yes, there is a wonderful aspect of the giving. It's appropriate for you to give, but please be thoughtful about who you give to. There are decisions, choices here. You might find that some people are connecting with you with, it sounds dreadful, but to say with ulterior motives. In some ways you need to collaborate. It's appropriate for you to be sharing, but as I said, that there is a real duality in the message here. I'm literally feeling myself sitting on this It's like I'm walking, you know that saying where you walk a fine line? The Hermit is a lovely energy in this pack. It says that it's like you've come home to yourself. It also says, don't worry, the right people will find themselves. When you are alone, enjoy being alone. When you are with people, enjoy being with you, and the right people will find themselves. So there's something about, you know, your vibe attracts your tribe. It's like finding the right people to hang out with, finding the right people to share with. It's almost as though, and this has come up in some of the other readings at different times, it's almost as though there are some people around you who are a little bit toxic. They're a little bit, even if they've got plenty themselves, they're still going to try and take a bit more. It's the situation we are in. I think it is bringing out both the best in people and the worst in people. But there's so many lessons that we can learn here. One of them is discernment. That's what's really coming through here. You need to be guarded a little bit. It's not about being dishonest, but be guarded about what you have and choose how you share it and who you share it with. You can share to those who are genuinely in need, but don't give everything at the expense of yourself, because you then won't be in a position where you can actually look after you and therefore give to others. And I think you might also find, I feel that there's just a fascinating energy around this reading. I almost want to bring in more at the very beginning, for those of you, if you connected in with the bit where I talked about my preparation, the sweetgrass that I burned. I almost want to like sort of sprinkle this around you. It attracts positivity. It's kind of like the drains and the radiators, you know. I don't know if you've ever heard of that terminology, and you may have heard me speak of it before. You know, some people are drains, some people are radiators. You know, when radiators get together with radiators, life is amazing. But radiators also are often a magnet for drains. It doesn't mean we shouldn't be giving to people. We should be very thoughtful, kind, compassionate, and give to really everyone, really, if we can, to the best of our ability. But we need to make sure we're not taken in, or that we give to people who already have an abundance themselves. I mean, that's this feeling of discernment here, believing in your own worth, believing in your own value. I feel like somebody, there's an element of either someone or a collective group of people who would willingly put upon you. They would willingly, it's just the way that they are. They're quite centered in themselves, and they would willingly take from you, and in order to store for themselves, but not actually, they don't need that. Some people do need, as I said, I'm being very thoughtful about my language here, but there is something about you needing to be keep things close to your chest. Choices and decisions are needing to be made here, and you need to ground yourself in the making of those decisions, and you also need to empower yourself. Ground yourself. This card is a request to you to literally ground yourself. It says go outdoors, take off your shoes, find somewhere where it is safe to stand barefoot. Imagine roots growing out of your feet, travelling down into the soil beneath you, anchoring you with the nurturing energy of the earth. Empower yourself. Empowerment does not mean that we have power over others. It means we have power over ourselves. We honour our capacity for free will and conscious choice, whilst honouring the same in others. This card asks you to evaluate your present situation and to take an ownership of your right to choose, with a recognition of the entitlement of others to do the same. So we don't have control over anyone else. We have control over ourselves. The connection between the Hermit and the Lovers, choices that you're needing to make. What I'm loving is we have here the Six of Cups. You are really genuinely being asked it's like to love yourself and to love others, and to recognize that those around you who are a bit toxic, that there's reasons for that, but it's not your responsibility. It's like we can still be compassionate. We don't buy into the resentment. We can love them for who they are, but also kind of keep a clear boundary around us. That's the shield yourself. That's the rune of protection. rather of defence. But yeah, I know when I drew it and I said defence and protection, you are being asked to protect yourselves. This is the rune of defence. It's very interesting. We are seeing both the best in people and the worst of people actually at the moment, and interestingly enough, that actually helps with our discernment. You know, we get to see people for who they are, and actually if somebody is operating badly, it's so important to remember it's because they're afraid, you know, and the fear has overcome them, and that's the basis on which they are operating. We can forgive them, but we can also forgive them from a distance. We forgive, but it doesn't mean we give endlessly, because actually we're buying into the fear if we do so. So boundaries are an issue here. Protecting yourselves, grounding yourselves, knowing that when you are alone, you can enjoy that aloneness. When you are with people and connected with people, enjoy that. But you know, for me, this card speaks of, you know, your vibe attracts your tribe. Really develop your discernment, really become highly attuned and aware of the way in which you collaborate with others at this moment in time. That is part of the healing that's actually being brought to you at this time. It's raising those levels of awareness and learning to trust and believe in yourself. You know, that removes us from, you know, don't get into a place of despair. You know, people will do what they do, and they're not your responsibility. The only person you are responsible for is you. Wonderful people. So much love to you. I will be doing the monthly readings for April. Hopefully I'll be doing them live with opportunity for Q&A at the end. And as I said, I will be reading the chapter on possibly fear and anxiety in Mindfulness Meets Emotional Awareness. In fact, I think the chapter's about both. And with the exercises as well to help manage that, because there's so much uncertainty around us. It's really fueling a lot of fear, and very important that we learn to really level ourselves out and act from a place of emotional empowerment, emotional awareness. Wonderful people, so much love to you. Keep safe, keep well. Namaste. Welcome, wonderful people, to the Art of Manifestation Oracle cards, the first limited edition run, in fact, of the Art of Manifestation Oracle cards. For anyone following my readings, you'll have come across them. Up until now, the Art of Manifestation cards that I am using are the only ones in existence. They are about to be birthed into the world. It's been a very, very steep learning curve for me. I'm not a big organisation, I'm just a small me, and so it's been just a huge learning curve. But I have been able to source all the various components in ways that are in alignment with my own core values. So everything is made relatively local to me. So before any of these packs fly across the world to any of you, wherever you are, we have already established their beginnings with a really, really low carbon footprint. Not only are they not having to travel millions of miles to get to me in order to be assembled, but I've really used, wherever possible, recycled materials. The wonderful box that we have, this little, it's a magnet box, so it kind of clips shut. This box is made from recycled materials. It's absolutely gorgeous, very sturdy, very solid. Inside each box, because they are a limited edition run of 2,500, much as if you went into a gallery and you bought a limited edition print from an artist, because this is a first edition, as it says on the book and in the book, you will find that each box is signed and numbered. This is the first out of 2,500. Likewise, the book is also signed and numbered. Every single one will have that. Now, each pack comes with, they're packed with some desert white sage. For anyone who was checking in with the live webinar on how to work with the tarot cards and the runes, the very first webinar, there will be many, but the very first one, I spoke a lot about preparation and how I use desert sage always to store with my cards. It really keeps the energy of them clean. So each of these packs comes packed with a little smudge stick, a white desert sage smudge stick. The cards themselves are then packed inside a recycled bag. These are recycled cotton bag, and I will take these ones out. You can then see that this is the only piece of plastic that we've actually used. We had to use something to bind the cards because it would be impossible for us to pack them otherwise. But they are beautifully packed, as I said, in this lovely package of stuff in this gorgeous, gorgeous box. Now, people have been asking about the price. We have tried to keep it as low as we possibly can. Anyone on that mailing list, and as I said, that mailing list will close on the last day of March. So if you're not on it, you will still hopefully be able to buy some. You'll be able to access them hopefully on Amazon, but you will have to buy them at the full price. Now, anyone on that mailing list, I will be emailing you. If you haven't received an email from me, can you please check your spam box? Because I've actually emailed a couple of updates, and some people have said they haven't heard anything. I know when I emailed and did a trial email for myself, it didn't bounce, but it did come up in my Gmail account asking me, if sort of almost with a warning, to say it might not be safe. I'm using an organisation called Send in Blue, and where I can send out large numbers of emails, and it comes from the A to Z of emotional health. So do watch out for that. Once the list is closed, I will be sending you out. We'll have a system set up so that you can pre-order, and with a small deposit you'll be able to reserve a pack. You will also receive a £5 discount on every pack. Now, the actual price of these is going to be £35. I think that's actually very reasonable for a first edition, especially given that each one is signed and numbered. I know I own a first edition pack of Aleister Crowley cards. I actually, when I discovered they were a first edition, they were given to me as a gift. I actually discovered that if I wanted to buy them, I'd have to pay around £600, and obviously they're not even signed. I'm not suggesting that my cards will ever elevate to that sort of proportion, but nevertheless, these are a very special edition. For people on that list, you will be receiving a £5 discount, and so you will be able to buy them for £30 per pack, each one being signed and numbered. If that is out of your budget, please don't worry. There will be an opportunity later in the year to buy a pack of these cards. I will be actually hopefully setting up larger numbers in order with a smaller box and a smaller leaflet. At the moment, the cards, as I said, are coming in this format, and that's really how it's been. It's been the process of the way that they have sort of birthed into the world and emerged. And as I said, they're very special. If buying on Amazon, because they will be distributed via Amazon, they will go, once we have packed them all here, all the various components, they will be shipped to an Amazon International warehouse. If you are on Amazon Prime, you will be able to get your postage paid for. It seemed the most economical way of sending them out across the world. However, if you are in a country where buying from Amazon is either difficult or extremely expensive, a couple of people have contacted me and just said the way their country is set up, it's extortionate to buy through Amazon. I will also set up a separate email that you can contact me on. I am very willing to post them to you direct if you wish to buy a pack, and you will just have to pay the postage from the UK, and I will find out what that is for various countries. So if you want to bypass Amazon for whatever reason, you can do so, but you may find for a lot of you it will be the most economic way of purchasing. Okay, so there's going to be an option to do either, but again, please bear with me as I navigate these systems. I'm not a big organisation, I'm just a small me, and therefore I am needing to learn how to negotiate and organise all of this. But as I said, at this stage, that list is still open. It will be open until the last day of March. The list will then be closed completely. I will contact everyone on that list, and I will have set up systems of payment where you can either reserve a pack or indeed buy a pack and have them posted direct to you as soon as they arrive and are packed. And as I said, at the moment, our arrival date for everything for the books and the boxes, and the sage is already with me. It's wonderful. My house smells of desert sage. At the moment, all those components will be here. It's the cards that will be arriving last on the 14th of April. They will be packed, signed and numbered, and then sent out as soon as, well, literally I imagine within a week of their arrival here. But obviously, guys, as I said, thank you so much for your patience in bearing with me during the emergence of these, and they are really very special. I'm very proud of them, and thank you so much for your love and support. And if you're not on the list, do get on it, and if you are and you haven't heard from me, please check your spam box, because if you haven't received it, it's not because we haven't sent it out to you, and obviously we're not, we can only do our best at this end. So wonderful people, namaste, so much love to you.